but big on the inside. A mini MPV, of course.
On this week's Driven, we put three very different-looking multi-purpose vehicles through their paces. The futuristic Fiat Multipla, the retro Chrysler PT Cruiser, and the contemporary Nissan Almera Tino. Also, we've got exclusive spy shots of the controversial new Vauxhall Vectra being tested in Germany. And we're talking pressure and tread in our special report on tyre safety. But first, those mini MPVs.
Targeted at families, these smaller multi-purpose vehicles offer an intriguing alternative to the larger people carriers. The idea is simple. What you lose in size, you gain in clever design, manoeuvrability and style. So, which of our three contenders will come up trumps in this week's Driven 100?
Dreaming of a holiday, not too hot or far away.
I reckon your kids would be embarrassed if you dropped them off at the school gates in this, but this is one of the most future-facing MPVs to date. It's unique in the way that it seats 6 free across the front and 3 across the rear, thanks to this funky dashboard and gear knob stuck up here out the way. And this car's feisty and real Italian to drive. It's one of our favourites on Driven, and I reckon this could prove hard to beat.
The Chrysler PT Cruiser is a lot more US than UK, that's for sure. An MPV? Well, kind of. OK, it's only got 5 seats, but they do come out and they are Texas 10-gallon sized. Underneath, well, it's a boring old Chrysler Neon. However, it's those hot rod looks that pull the crowds. Would James Dean have driven one? Only if he'd had a couple of little rebels in the back.
Unlike the other two, the Nissan Tino has no character at all. It's terribly mumsy. But that might have something to do with the fact that the National Childbirth Trust had a hand in designing the interior. And to be fair, they've done a pretty good job. There's 20 cubby holes and nets all over the place, which are really handy. For the adults, they've had a stab at some fancy curves and some aluminium look-alike buttons. And it's supposed to be as good to drive as any regular Nissan.
OK, it's time to start testing. And for family cars, it's got to be safety first.
We've all been there before. The kids are in the back of the car messing about and suddenly you lose concentration for a split second. You look up to find all the cars have stopped in front of you. In a blind panic, you jump on the brakes to avoid the accident.
Now, all three of our cars have got ABS brakes, but which one of them will prove to be the best in a genuine braking emergency?
We've been joined at our test track by Ricardo, leading engineering consultants to the motor industry. With their scientific know-how and a load of fancy electronics, we're going to get an accurate measure of each car's brakeability.
Right, our first car is the Fiat Multipla. Penny's going to get us up to 70 miles an hour for this braking test.
Now this car comes with ABS as standard and you also get EBD, which is electronic brake distribution.
It distributes the braking force to all 4 wheels. Clever trick stuff.
What are we doing?
Hold on to your hats,
70
boys.
miles an hour.
70 miles an hour and...
Oh, my heavens, it's coming at me head.
Tell you, it's pretty good.
It's got some anchors, this car, isn't it?
Really feels good under braking, and we've stopped in 59.6 metres.
Right, here we are in a PT Cruiser, the ultimate Fonzmobile. Come and girl, wind it up to 70.
Right.
Now this car's got ABS, but the most basic model in the range doesn't, and that's not very good. It's also heavy at 1,600 kilos.
And that's not going to help when I brake.
Oh, it's squirming all over the place.
Really long brake pedal travel, really spongy, nasty brakes. Don't feel confident at all. Not impressed.
How about in the back there, Jay?
I'm not happy about being in it anyway. It looks like a hearse. I just want to get out.
Now, we've stopped in 60.3 metres, which is 3/4 of a metre further than the Fiat, so it's comparable, but inside it just doesn't feel anything as good.
Well, let's give the Nissan Tino a try. Last of our trio. Come and girl, wind it back up.
Now this car does have ABS, it's got electronic brake distribution, and it's also got brake assist, which recognises a true emergency and applies maximum ABS.
Let's see if it does. It's 70 miles an hour. Crikey, it really does move about.
Lots of snaking under braking.
Yeah, but I tell you what, we've stopped in 55.9
Which
metres.
is pretty good. It does feel nervous though, does it not
Really
think?
does. It feels
Lots
ever
of
so
body-
moving around, yeah.
Body twitching, but it's the shortest by far, isn't it?
Well, it is 2 car lengths, so it has to be the winner. Although I would say that Multipla does feel the most composed.
We also tested each car at 30, 50 and 90 miles an hour. At all speeds, the difference between the PT Cruiser and the Fiat Multipla was marginal. The Nissan Almera Tino, however, was the winner at all speeds.
More on the Driven 100 later. Now, the first of two Driven reports on tyres and safety.
Whoa, 17 tonne! And the only contact I got with the tarmac is an area of rubber about the size of my foot.
If you've only got a small amount of tyre rubber in contact with the road, you want to make sure that the rubber is in the best possible condition. So what about your car?
Well, that has a rubber contact with the ground about the same area as the size of the palm of my hand. And the faster you go, the smaller it gets.
Given this, tyre maintenance should be a priority, but according to a recent survey, only 1 in 10 of us have correctly inflated tyres, and nearly half of us are driving around with tyres so worn they wouldn't pass an MOT. So let's look how these factors can affect our driving safety.
Like most of the populace, you probably own a front-wheel drive car, and you would have noticed that your front tyres wear out quicker than your rears. That's because the front tyres have to worry about driving the car as well as steering it, so it makes sense to replace those. Doesn't it? Well, we're here at a specially designed test track that's being soaked down for us, and we're going to put that theory to the test in these two little courses. Right, now the first of our courses has got new tyres on the front and worn tyres on the rear. However, they are within legal limits. Now I'm going to go into this high-speed corner that's been specially dampened for us in third gear, and all I would expect is a mild understeer. So I'll turn in. Here comes the understeer, I'm off the power, and immediately this car just spins wildly out of control. And the reason is because the rear tyres have lost traction and the front ones are tucking it in, and that's not what you'd expect from a car if you just put new rubber on it. However, I think I've got a solution. Right, now the second of our courses has got new tyres on the rear and the used tyres are on the front. I'm going to go into the same corner at the same speed and I would expect similar results. Get into third gear, come into this fast sweeping corner, exactly the same speed. Here comes the understeer, lift off, but all of a sudden now the back is tucked in, the slide is much more controllable, and that's because the rear tyres are aiding the front tyres during the slides. I mean, if you can afford it, put new rubber all round, but if you can't afford it and you're only going to replace a pair of tyres, then make sure you put your old tyres on the front of the car and put the new tyres on the rear. It could save your life.
Hands up those of you who over the last year have checked your tyre pressure. Well, I know I haven't. Have you? Well, you wouldn't believe how important tyre pressure is when it comes to economy, safety and the life cycle of a tyre. Now, the most important of those, safety, is where we're going to do our next test. We're going to see how extreme the tyre behaves, especially when you're aquaplaning. On a bend at our test track, we have a section of water, 7mm deep and 20 metres long, the kind of large puddle you might run into on a rainy day. Now, this car is travelling at 56 miles per hour. The tyres are at the correct pressure of 32 pounds per square inch. How does it cope? Pretty well, it takes the corner safely. This time the tyre pressure is down to 20 pounds per square inch. It's low, but easily done if you haven't checked your tyres for a while. Whoa, it has real problems taking a corner this time. Look how it drifts away from the bend. Next week I'll be looking at more problems caused by poor tyre maintenance, but don't wait until then. Get down the garage and check your pressure now.
I certainly will, Mike. Now, if you want more information about tyre safety and where to find the best deals on people carriers, both large and small, log on to 4car.co.uk. Back to the Driven 100. And how well do our mini MPVs handle confined spaces? It's what they're designed for, isn't it?
MPVs are notoriously hard to park because they're so big and it's hard to see each corner of the car. So we're going to see how easy it is to squeeze our 3 mini MPVs into a tight spot where there's only 1 foot of room for manoeuvre front and back. And this can put even the most skillful of drivers under the most dreadful pressure.
Right, the Fiat Multipla is the shortest car here. However, it's as wide as a Rolls Royce. But can you squeeze it in that little gap, Jason? It's only about 9 inches front and rear.
Mike thinks that's 9 inches. Anyway, if you need any tips, I'll happily help you.
Can you hear the bleeper?
No, the beep is parking sensor. It's extra in
quite
this
good.
car. It's 50p short of 400 quid.
The only thing is I've got a bit of an idea where the rear of the car is, but I have no idea where the front is.
But it's the same problem in all MPVs, really. You can't judge where the full corners are. Now, as soon as the parking sensor does a constant tone, it means you've got
Mike's
about
gone, we've lost
8
him.
inches.
Now, steering-wise, the steering's quite
Flat line.
How many locks?
about 3 turns. I reckon
That's
we're in.
it. You are in. Not
Now,
bad at
rear
all.
visibility is quite good. There's a nice window on the right. The rear window is quite large. The only problem is you can't really see where the corner is because the headrests are in the way. So, I mean, it's good.
But there's so much glass, it does give you the best visibility.
And how nice it is
And it's
for all
just
3 of us to sit here.
so cosy in the front, isn't it?
Next up, the Chrysler PT Cruiser.
Howdy, partner. Let's see if we can park this steer. Lose the park the car. Into reverse, and straight away there's no beep. That's because there's no parking sensors.
The rear visibility, because of the massive C-pillar, I just can't see anything. I can't see where the corners are. I haven't really got an idea where the back
And
of
the
the
back
boot
is
is.
so high.
The front's quite easy to judge because of
Yeah.
that slope-away bonnet.
No, I think the front's easier than the Multipla, to be honest, but the back's not very good. It actually doesn't park too badly, apart from the steering. I don't like the steering because it's just you put 3 turns on and nothing happens. It's just not tight enough.
Finally, it's the Tino.
The first thing I notice is rear visibility is not overly good
you've got a
because that massive rear pillar.
Pillar here.
And when you're parking, you need to know where the rear of the corner
Yeah.
is.
This is exactly where you want the glass, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Right here.
How close am I to that?
Even from here, it's hard
Have
to
a look.
see.
Flatlined again, Jace. That means stop. Doesn't mean just keep going until you bump into something.
He's got a bit of margin. It's got a good turning circle.
Nice light steering.
Yeah, it is very light. I like
Do
that.
you like the driving position?
No, I don't.
I love it.
I think the steering wheel's a bit too low for me.
You've done it.
It's in.
It's in, but is it worth investing an extra £310?
Yeah, I think it is.
So-
I thought this was the most difficult, to judge where that corner was.
So the Fiat Multipla with its fish tank windows slots into first place. Only just though, there really wasn't much in it. The PT Cruiser finished second, and poor visibility leaves the Tino third.
Interested in buying one of the Driven 100 contenders? Here's a quick guide to the best deals around.
For the Multipla, most dealers should manage around £700 off the list price.
After recent reductions on the price of the PT Cruiser, sorry, it's no deals. Unless, of course, you get an import. Then you can save over £1,000.
The Nissan Tino's also seen recent price cuts, but still expect up to £650 off with a dealer or a broker.
Coming up after the break, first pictures of the new Vauxhall Vectra, and Mike gets funky with the new Volvo S60.
Mini MPVs with an oversized package. But first, spy footage and a driven scoop.
Just another prototype car caught track testing in Germany? Hardly. These exclusive pictures reveal a vehicle which is at the centre of a crisis in UK manufacturing. Yes, this is the new Vauxhall Vectra. It was going to be built in Luton, but the decision to move it abroad signalled the end of car making at the factory. Here, it's being fine-tuned for an all-out assault on the Ford Mondeo in 2002, and expectations are high about its handling and performance. It's also going to look pretty sharp too, as our computer-generated picture shows. So, will it wear a Vauxhall or an Opel badge? We'll just have to wait and see.
I knew I recognised this car. It was one of these, a Volvo S60 T5 that me and a bunch of journalists smashed the British 24-hour land speed record at the back end of the last series. Now, normally, you'd have to drag me kicking and screaming to get back into a car like this that I spent most of the night driving around in circles at 150 mile an hour. But with this motor, do you know what? I don't mind. Oh, it's like coming home to a nice, cosy Cotswold cottage. In fact, I'm going to throw a couple more logs on the fire. Heated seats, I love them. And that's the thing about this car, it's so comfortable in here, and it has to be, because for this car to succeed, it has to be very special indeed.
Here's why Volvo have launched the S60 into the most competitive class there is, the compact executive car bracket, dominated by the BMW 3 Series and the Mercedes C-Class. To survive in this company, you have to be a brilliant all-rounder. So will the Volvo be king of the jungle?
Well, first impressions are excellent. Making decent interiors seemed to be a lost art in the 80s and 90s, but it looks like Volvo are dragging us back out the dark ages. To take on the Germans and beat them, you have to have a pretty specced up interior, and the S60 is no exception, with some impressive kit as standard. You get a multi-function steering wheel, you get air conditioning and an 8-speaker CD player, and on the SE model like this, you get 9. Count them. Not enough to shake your fillings out, there's always a 13-speaker option too. Right, that's enough of that. You make me look silly.
That's how hard Volvo have tried to shake off their conservative image. And just look at the body shape, it's not square at all, it's curvy. But the S60 is a front-wheel drive car, so it suffers from vague steering and a slightly reduced turning circle. For that reason, driving purists won't touch it. Volvo haven't forgotten that they built their reputation on safety, and there are more airbags than a bouncy castle in this car. It gets to 60 in around 7 seconds and has very refined motorway manners. Volvo have made a car that excels in every department.
But will it sell against the likes of BMW and Mercedes? Well, that's up to you, the car buying public. Badge snobs and rear-wheel drive purists may turn their noses up, but many of us would be happy to drive this stylish Swedish all-rounder. And let's face it, you do get a lot of car for your money.
For more information on the S60, log on to our website at 4car.co.uk. Plus, from midnight tonight, get the inside story on its cousin, the new Jaguar X-Type. Now, back to the Driven 100.
These three cars may have plenty of seating room, but what about storage? Well, to pack anything bigger than a couple of cases, you've got to lose some seats.
The forward-looking Multipla seats 6 across 2 rows. The front and rear central seats can be folded down and used as tables. The back row can easily be removed to leave a massive flat loading area of 1.2 metres in length and 1 metre in width. The PT Cruiser is all hot rod on the outside, but is it any cop on the inside? There's a 5-position rear shelf which we found completely useless. There are 5 seats, the rear ones come out, although you will need a bit of extra help. It's only slightly more flexible than a hatchback, with a flat loading space that's about as deep as a Multipla, but not quite as high or as wide. The Nissan Almera Tino has more seating arrangements than you can shake a stick at. All 5 seats recline, and yet again the rear ones can come out. The rear central seat folds down into a table with ubiquitous cup holders. Seats removed, and you've got a load space that's deeper and longer than the other 2, on paper at least. But which will cope best with that package that looks small in the catalogue but unfeasibly large when you went to collect it? First, the Fiat Multipla.
Jim, eat your pen. In it goes, look at what?
And still, look at all the space that's still left over at the side. And
Beautiful.
you can still get 3 people in there.
Flat loading area as well.
Absolutely enormous.
Brilliant.
See if that shuts, which it will, I'm sure. Perfect.
Fantastic.
Thumbs up for the Fiat Multipla. The old PT Cruiser. First thing you notice about this is it has got a sill that you have to lift the objects over.
Not flat, is it?
Which is not flat. It doesn't actually fit. What do you reckon? Should we make it fit?
Yeah.
So if you do go and buy that nice Queen Anne desk, you might have to shave a leg off of it to get it in. But
If we get it in, mate, we're not going to get it out.
no, we're
Stuck.
not.
It's
No.
absolutely stuck.
So you could do that and put a bungee. You could do a nice bungee with some stop, you know, I'm transporting signs on the back. Right, now the Nissan Tino is definitely the most rate of the 3. It has got quite a large boot area. However, first objection is these big seals. You've got to load stuff over the top.
No, not a coat. Not a coat.
Right.
We turn it over.
It won't go- yeah, let's try it that way.
Now, hang on.
That's a better way, though.
If you took all the space across the bottom,
Right, I reckon we can get it in, Mark.
I reckon if it's flat pack furniture,
It's going.
it'll go in. There you go. So make sure you visit your flat pack store for the furniture for the Tino.
It's a great fit.
But the best one by far is definitely the Multipla.
6 seats, big space, plus flat floor, the Multipla breezes it. Silly shelf, deep space, but the narrow sill puts the hot rod in second. And the Tino has loads of space, but a very narrow opening. You best get your furniture delivered.
Right, it's time for the Driven 100, where we're going to score our 3 mini MPVs in 4 different categories. We're going to start with the Fiat Multipla and drivability.
I love the driving position, I love the visibility, I love everything about this car.
A good all-round drive, 17 points. And the PT Cruiser.
It does look fantastic from the outside, and, you know, I wanted to drive it, but I was just so disappointed.
It's dreadful.
I don't want to use this word, but it's rubbish.
You just did. It drives bad, handles bad, bad score, 13 points. So what about the Tino?
In the braking test, brakes ever so sensitive, and it stopped far better than the other two.
And it was fairly competent on the road, so a middling 15. And on to desirability. First, the Multipla.
It's very desirable to a lot of people, this car.
But it's not for everyone, so 17 points. Next, the Cruiser.
Retro, fond style looking, I reckon this car is ultimately desirable. My dad actually drove 20 miles to a car showroom just to go and sit in one, so he liked it.
Fair enough, Mike. The PT Cruiser gets 16. So now the Tino.
One thing about this car is that everything's kind of okay. It looks okay, it drives okay, everything about it's okay. It's just nothing special. Be like yourself, Mike.
Not ordinary.
Oh, easy pet. An ordinary 15. On to practicality and the Multipla.
It seats 6 and there's loads of space, so it gets 20 big uns. When the Cruiser's seats are out, there's also lots of storage, although the rear sill is a bit narrow, so it gets 19. The Almera's got cubby holes galore, but it's missing a flat loading space, so 18 points. And the final category, cost of ownership.
How much will it cost me to buy?
15,080 quid. Why?
Doesn't
Why
sound
don't they
like
just
a
lose
lot,
the
I mean.
80 quid?
And at only 45p a mile, excellent value, 17. What about the Cruiser?
It costs a whopping 56.35p a mile.
And it's the dearest of the three at 15,995 quid, so a lowly 15 points. The Tino is 15,800 quid, but only 41p a mile, a good 18.
So which of our mini MPVs gets a family-friendly thumbs up and which gets a thumbs down? Well, in third place is the expensive PT Cruiser with 63 points. Despite its lack of excitement, the Tino scores a competent 66 points. And this week's winner is the Fiat Multipla with a massive 71 points.
Down here in sunny Brighton, the 6-seater Multipla reigns supreme. It's full of character, it's a great drive, and it's ultimately practical. It's going to prove hard to beat, and that's why it's this week's winner with a fantastic score of 71. We'll see you next week.
On next week's show, turbo diesels. Don't laugh, our Driven 100 diesels have the kind of performance some petrol cars can only dream of. The new Renault Laguna takes on the new Volkswagen Passat. And our car of the year last year, Ford's new shape Mondeo.
For more information on these stories and a chance to win tickets for a major motorcycle and scooter show, visit the 4Car website at 4car.co.uk.